It's been dark way too long in this place. That bright smile long gone been replaced. From ear to ear I see that fear in your face. Tell me when the last time you felt safe, cause there's some evil people in the streets. Evil at your front door, creeping while you sleep. It's time to raise up, show that evil we ain't weak. We don't turn the other cheek, I can show you how to be strong. Come on, follow me. Heard you looking for a hero. Well, look up. No more running from the bad guy, I'ma stare him in the eye like, what's up? I know the journey got hard for a minute, but I ain't giving this up. Yeah, I got the heart of a champion. If I get knocked down, I get back up. We go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Insights of a Survivor. I love that song, you guys. That song has me turned up every time. Y'all know I'll be in the background like, ooh, 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 ooh. Hello. Okay, so before we get started, I'm going to always start with a trigger warning because, some of the topics that we discuss are very, very touchy, sensitive, and can cause a trigger. So before we begin, I want to acknowledge that today's episode can and will most likely cover some sensitive topics, including domestic violence, survivorship, and the healing journey. Some content may and will be sensitive or triggering for listeners who have experienced trauma. Please take care of yourself. When you're listening, take care of yourself. If you feel like you need to pause, you need to reach out for support. If you need to prioritize your well-being, please do that. I won't ever take offense. It's all love. You have to take care of yourself first, okay? So, hey again, and welcome. I am so glad that you're here today because this conversation is my journey. It is one that so many of us are walking. We're talking about personal empowerment, healing stories. But let me be clear, this just isn't about moving on from pain. It's about reclaiming and reframing. It's about changing our stories. Well, not changing our stories, reclaiming our stories and our voices, reclaiming our power. I know what it's like, I know what it's like firsthand to feel like your story isn't yours to tell, So this is my first solo episode. I don't have a guest, you guys. I am the guest. Me. And I'm going to just share my story because I always say I know what it's like to be silenced. I know what it's like to carry the weight of the world on my shoulders. I know what it's like to feel ignored. I know what it's like to feel like no one wants to understand what I'm going through. Survivors are always expected to deal with the BS quietly, in silence. They need to shrink themselves or move without, ever really healing. Just don't tell your story. But let me tell you something, that is not what this is about. That's not what life is for. That is not what your story is for. And that is why, again, I do this work. That's why I created Social Resilience Journey. That's why I host a lot of my summits, my Rise and Thrive, my Empowered Voices, my Fearless and Flourishing. Oh, that's the same one. And that's why I am now hosting a free domestic violence, sexual assault survivor group. Support group. There it is. Support group. And that is called Unbroken Circle because we are unbroken. We may be a little tattered. We may be a little worn, but we're not broken. So I want to do my part in reframing my story. And one of the most powerful things I can do to reframe my story is not to erase my story. My story was not one that was easy. I don't know who's all heard my story, who's heard me speak in the past, who's listened to my podcast when I very first started, and I talked a little bit about what I went through. And it was rooted in generational trauma. I'm not ashamed to say it anymore. Things happened to my family members, things happened to my mother, and there was no support, there was no help, there was no guidance, there was nothing. There was taking to deal with it. And that's pretty much the way my life has been, taking to deal with it. But I'm not going to pretend like it didn't happen. I'm not going to pretend like I didn't go through the things that I went through because that shapes who I am. I went through a lot and I came a long way to get to where I am. I didn't just decide today that I was going to start just telling my family business. No, I had to be broken down to almost nothing, feel ashamed of myself, not understand why it is that I have to have this life. What is it that, about me that makes me a target for everything and everyone that's bad and ugly? And I had to realize that that's not what the case is, but that didn't take a day, 2 days. It took years. When I say years, maybe last year is when I started to finally feel better about all the stuff that I've gone through. I stopped looking at my past as something that made me broken. Instead, I saw that it was proof that I was resilient. I reframed my experiences as not a weight holding me down, but as something that was pushing me forward. It was motivating me to shape my own narrative, to change the way I see things. And everything changed. Everything started to change. Everything is changing. Because the world is gonna always try to tell you who you are. There are always gonna be people who tell you that you're not good enough. There's always gonna be people that tells you you're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not this, you're not that. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to decide if that's who you want them to let you be, not who you're going to be for yourself. So now let's just be real. Again, healing is messy. It's hard. And there was days that I just want to give up. I was like, this is impossible. There's no way I'm not going to feel this way. There's no way I'm going to wake up and feel like I'm beautiful. There's no way I'm going to wake up and be comfortable telling everyone that I've been beaten by my mother, that I have been beaten and tortured by my ex-husband, that I have been singled out most of my life, that I've been sexually assaulted multiple times, multiple different times by multiple different people. And I never thought that I would be comfortable saying this to anyone. But I am. I am. I have found a community of survivors and of drivers who have shown me through their stories that there's nothing wrong with what happened to me. There was something wrong with the people that did it to me. There's always a source to everyone's trauma. Even the abuser, that he's their part of the trauma, they have a source to their anger as well. So I'm not to give anyone an excuse, but to talk about the fact that their issues were not mine. They chose to take peace. They chose to cope with their issues by beating on me and by mistreating me and abusing me. But that wasn't my fault. It took years of reprogramming, years of breath work, and I still struggle with this, you guys. I could do that right now because I feel the anxiety coming. But just to sit in there and say, you know what, I got to get up in the morning and just meditate. Yes, I said I feel like I am having anxiety because this is my first solo podcast and I have to fill this time. And I'm just like, okay, click, turn off. But I can teach myself how to do that during the times. I can teach myself that when I am in front of an audience, I call it my mask. I know how to smile and make it presentable, but the insides are all over the place. That's when my body is programmed to do my grounding techniques. I have to, and I'm still trying to train myself every morning to make it a routine. I do have done it every day for a while now, and I'm really proud of myself. But I have my off days, and I have to also learn how to stop kicking myself when I make a mistake. Don't kick yourself because you didn't get up and you didn't do your breath work. Don't get angry with yourself because you didn't meditate long enough. This is your healing journey. Sometimes we put more pressure on ourselves to heal than we do actually heal because we're trying to be perfect. Because I have been programmed to be perfect. Whatever I do, I have to be perfectionist. That I have to clean the best. I have to work the best. I have to look the best. I have to cook the best. I have to be the best mom. I have to do everything right, or I'm going to be a failure. That's how I was taught. That's how I was raised. But the fact of the matter is that was never true. That was never, never, never true. What the truth was is that I am a human being. And human beings make mistakes. And the mistakes that we make are normal. I'm not going to beat myself up because of that mistake. So, that being said, um, I had to learn how to take back my power. So, I want you today to ask yourself, what story have you been telling yourself? What story have I been telling myself? Have I been telling everybody, telling myself that I'm a failure if I don't succeed? And if I have, then what does success look like to you? Because to me, success looked like being what someone else wanted me to be, you know. But my story was one of pain and one of survival. But I'm trying to change that narrative to make it one of power, because I promise you, you are not just what you've been through. You are not the trauma. You are not the struggles. You are not the moments that you felt like you were going to die, the moments you felt like you wanted to give up on life, on everything. You are more than that. You are in control of your narrative. You are strength. You are resilience. And you are someone who gets to decide what happens next, not anyone else. Okay, so trauma isn't something that happens in one moment. Well, it's not only something that can happen in one moment. And when I say trauma, let's break this down. When I say trauma, I don't mean only domestic violence, only sexual assault. Someone could have gotten shot. Someone could have had a stroke. Someone could have just been diagnosed with cancer 2 days ago, and they don't know what's going to happen. They don't know what their future is going to look like. All of those are forms of trauma, you know. So it can happen in a moment, but it's not something that only happens in a moment. It's not only an isolated event. Sometimes the impact is what's been passed down from our ancestors, from those who came before us, like myself. I dealt with generational trauma. So when I start saying trauma isn't this trauma, I'm talking about my type of trauma. I can't relate to anyone else's trauma because I haven't gone through what you've gone through. My trauma was never one isolated incident. I've been fighting since birth. Like, I don't know how true this is, but I know I do have a scar on my neck because of me um, being poisoned when I was an infant. I mean, I wasn't even gonna get down at the hospital. Okay, not poisoned. I say it's poison. I'm being a drama queen diva, but um, when I was a newborn, something happened to me. I've heard so many different stories. I've heard that my aunt gave me some bad milk because she was trying to feed me. I heard that she put something to make me sick in the milk because she was mad at my mom. I was, she gave me bad milk because she just wanted to shut me up because I was crying so much. No matter what happened, someone didn't do their due diligence in monitoring what was put inside of my body, and I got sick. I was in the hospital for the first 10 months of my life. I was only home for less than a week before I ended up back in the hospital. I died like 2 or 3 times. They had to bring me back. And that's how far back my trauma goes. Because again, if the story has changed, and it all stems back to me being something being put in my bottle as an infant to shut me up. I don't understand who would do that to a child, let alone an infant who cannot even raise her hand to fend for herself. But then it goes even further than that. I mean, I'm doing these podcasts. That's another thing that a lot of people don't understand about most survivors. We relive these stories every time we tell them. But every time we tell them, we're taking our power back even more and more and more. So um, when I'm talking to you about this, if I'm triggering you, I am sorry. But I'm feeling empowered because I overcame that. I got through having to live a life of fear because I thought that the woman who poisoned me was going to do it again. And honestly, I almost died at her house again. Honestly, okay, sidetrack. The same woman that I was told was responsible for me being sick in the hospital invited me and my children, now I am in my 30s at this point, to Christmas dinner. She cooks everything. Now, I will say she can cook. My family, they may not be the most sane people, but they are definitely cooks. They're chefs. Everyone in my family knows how to cook. Most, I can't say everyone. Um, But she asked everybody what their allergies was, and I told her. She put something that I was allergic to in the food. And my throat closed shut, my neck swelled up. My kids thought I was going to die. So when I say I'm laughing because I'm saying, she wouldn't do that, but I don't know. She may want to kill me. I'm sorry. I mean, that's how I feel like twice, same person, same two people involved. Me being having something put in my food that I can't have, and the person making the food that caused me to get sick. So you be the judge of that. I'm not going to say anything, but I'm not really big on that coincidence. I got through that. That's the point that I'm trying to make. I got off sidetracked because I just really caught on to that, and I thought that was really funny. That same person, same type of way. To this day, I won't eat her food. I don't care how good she could. Kids can't eat her food. Love you. You're not gonna get me. But the fact that I had to go through that though at such a young age, and you would think that people would be more cautious, but it just got worse from there. I swore up and down that they just did not like me. No one wanted to talk to me. No one. I had one cousin who actually wanted to deal with me, and he was no longer with us. I miss him so much. He was like a brother to me. Um, and it was because of the fact that I was created as a result of rape by my father, who was the pastor of the church, and he had been with my mom since she was 8. He was 46 years older than her, I believe. She was 8. He was in his 50s, and he did things to her that she will never come back from unless she gets help, because she has it, and because of that, she now struggles with substance abuse. She's an alcoholic, and she decided to take that out on the ones who were innocent in that, which was me. So I've been having to fight back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, going home in the streets, going home, going through all of the things that I went through just so that I could survive and make it past living with her, only to find myself in a situation with my ex-husband. That's why I say I understand what some of you feel like. Why, what did I do? Why am I going through this? You're going through this because that's your story. Once you get out of that, once you get to the point where you are healed and you find your purpose and you find your power and you find your strength and you find your voice, it's going to make you stronger than you ever have been. Not to say that you should have to go through that to be a strong person, but if you are going through that, just know that it is making you stronger. Once you get out of that, I had to get out of it, and that's the hardest part, because it's not easy to get out of that. Even if you want to go, I tried to leave. I tried to leave that man. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I didn't understand what stalking was until I met him. I did not understand what being afraid to leave your house was until I met him. Can I go outside without him jumping out of a bush? I didn't understand being afraid to sleep in your own bed. Well, no, that's a lie. My mom used to wake me up to some 2 pieces, but he was horrible. He was worse. I put him out. I would put him out. He broke in my house. Broke in my house, and would make sure I understood that he wasn't going to leave. He would. If I'm gonna go, I'm taking everything that is in this house that I put in here. Take it. When he see that didn't work, then it was the violence, knocking at my door, kidnapping my kids from school. These are all things I had to fight through so much. But I got through that. I got through that. That kind of isn't what I was supposed to talk about, but I mean, that's just where I was led. And it's just really, it can hurt. It can hurt to know that you have been put in a cycle of abuse that you didn't ask for because of the generational trauma. Generational trauma can persist when we avoid confronting the pain and patterns that have been passed down. I'm going to say that again. Generational trauma can persist when we avoid confronting the pain and patterns that have been passed down. So If I would have handled things the way my mother handled things, and I didn't confront the fact that she abused me, I just accepted it like they tell us, like they teach us. Don't say nothing. You better shut up. And I would have used that same energy with my children. I would have continued the trauma that was passed down in my family. If we don't take the time to reframe these cycles, they continue unconsciously affecting relationships, behaviors, and mindsets. And I need to change my mindset to be a good mother to my children. Without healing trauma from one generation, it can affect the next. And I watched that. I saw that because my grandmother went through it. Then my mother went through it. Then she did it to us. And this is where it stops. This is where it stops. These, because I wasn't trying to do to my children what was done to me. I didn't want to have them have unhealthy coping mechanisms because my coping mechanism was to have sex with everything that walked around in the sun. It was, and I know that's a bit graphic, but I mean that was what my addiction. I said I'm not going to be alcoholic like my mom, even though come to find out I probably was. I just didn't do it as often and as severe as she did. But my drinking habits were a bit much. I said I wasn't going to beat on my children. I wasn't going to use anger as a way to ease my stress. Toxic relationships, I did get into toxic relationships. I got into a toxic relationship. I've only been in, as an adult, two actual relationships in my entire life because, again, I was promiscuous. After I left my first husband, I said never again. And I just bounced around till I was just, so I found someone that settled me down again. And um, even in this relationship, it's a struggle. Self-sabotaging, creating elective pain that feels impossible to escape. Like these are things I didn't want for my children. So I had to address all of this. I went to therapy. I went to coaching. I confronted my accusers, my abusers, and depending on the time of day, sometimes because my ex-husband, I do not speak to. I will not speak to. Then my mom will sometimes apologize, and other times she'll cry. I mean, she drinks a lot, so it's rarely that I talk to her sober. So I don't really know what her sober response will be. But I know that I addressed it and I took back control of my life. I did everything I could to break the cycle and shift from a place of suffering to a place of empowerment. So one of the things I want to do on these episodes. So this is every month, the end of every Friday, I'm going to talk about something. So this one is my first one. It's bouncing around. I'm nervous, but I'm proud of myself for doing this. So each one was supposed to be a topic. This one I didn't stick to because I did this and I said what was on my heart. But I do want to talk about the things that I did to get over the generational trauma, which the first one I acknowledged my pain. I accepted and I recognized the impact that it had on me, and I allowed myself to stop hiding from the truth because that gave it power. Hiding that gave it power. Taking my power back was when I started to share my story. You know, I got help. I sought support. I did not have the best support system. Oh my goodness, the people that I hung around with, all they wanted to do was have me go out every weekend, get drunk, which is why I said I could have been alcoholic. I did everything I could not to let my behaviors affect my children, but I still did it. And go out, go to the club, and go find somebody to lay up with. And that was my support system. So I didn't do that right. I should have got some I should have gotten some professional help, a life coach, a therapist. But the people who were taking me out, I should have at least established boundaries and told them, like, if you can't help me be positive and I can't hang out with you. Because at that time, I had just gotten out of a 12-year long, very violent, very abusive relationship. Before that, I was being, brutally abused by my mother, and it was just I nonstop, for decades, and it was like I needed some time to heal. So seek a positive support system. I reached out for help from my coach. She was my therapist, but her practices were more of a coaching style. I find I have now some more positive network systems. I have people in this community that I can call. And it helps me gain a new perspective and develop healthier coping strategies instead of saying I'm going to go out and get drunk and go find somebody to go lay up. I didn't even get drunk to go lay up with somebody. I would just call somebody like, hey, come over, or I would just, it didn't matter. I think back in our day, it wasn't Tinder, it was Tag. I was on Tags a lot. Don't go looking for me on Tag. You're not going to find me at the LinkedIn account. The narrative. I consciously worked on shifting my story. Instead of focusing on the trauma, I focused on how to reframe my story around some resilience and strength and growth. I talk about losing my son a lot. That was my breaking point. It took everything in me to find the strength to be resilient with that. A lot of the trauma, oh, you're resilient, you bounce back, you bounce back. I almost didn't. I almost did. Um, but when I realized, after I did try to attempt to kill myself, I, um, I threatened. I wanted to kill myself. I was going to kill myself. My husband had to stop me. And I realized then that I hadn't healed. So, and that was years after my son had passed. I'm going to say 5 or 6 years after my son passed. I was still defined by my trauma. So I had to reframe my story around resilience, around strength and growth. Here we go today. I still miss my son. I still cry. I still have triggers that I work on, but I do not allow that to define me. Setting boundaries. Oh, I love that one. Setting boundaries was my hardest one. Now, you're going to respect my boundaries or you're just not going to be in my life because my boundaries are fair. Do not bring any negativity around me and I will allow you in my circle. It's not that you have to change who you are. I won't, I don't gossip. I don't, anything, if you are a negative person, then I don't want to be around you anyway. But if you are and you are able to at least respect me enough to keep that from me, I will try to respect you as a person and have you around me. Now, I don't judge anybody, but there are things about me that I have to honor about the way I feel about certain things. One of those things are, if I'm talking to someone and they want to talk negative about someone else, I will respectfully back out of that conversation because those are things to me that are a little bit toxic. Those are signs of a relationship that I don't want to get into. And that's just one of my boundaries. I have so many boundaries that I've set because I know that if I don't, I will allow people to completely run over me. I created a lot of healthy boundaries. Um, and again, anyone who's operating in an old, dysfunctional way, I kind of keep away. And it was kind of the biggest step to me breaking that cycle and reclaiming my inner peace. The next step was hard. Well, it was hard for me to do this for myself, not for other people, which is forgiveness and compassion. It's easy for me to forgive other people, but it was hard for me to forgive myself. And I had to learn how to forgive not just other people, but I had to learn how to forgive myself because that was important. That was so important for me to heal from my journey of going through so much being raped. I mean, to say that I've gotten raped more times before I turned 18 than I can count is sad. To say that every day that I was with my ex-husband, I always felt like I was being raped. I was being raped because I wasn't consenting half the time, and the other half I didn't want to. It's horrible. I didn't know what love was, intimate love, and it wasn't my fault, So forgiveness of myself, and that was the biggest one. Like I said, I forgive everyone. Now, will I speak to some of these people? Probably not. I don't want to. That doesn't mean I don't have to. I can't forgive them. Their journey is their journey. Whatever's going to come to them or not is going to come to them or not. It's not for me to say. All I can do is forgive, move on, walk my path, and that is exactly what I'm doing. It's crucial. It's crucial. It's crucial for you to be able to have a mindset of compassion rather than resentment. Because resentment, eats you. It eats you. It eats away at who you are. I was so angry for years. I was angry at everybody, and I started to let that anger consume me to a point where it became scary. I had to stop creating new rules, new rituals, and habits. So I had to instead of every Saturday night I'm going out and partying, every Saturday night I cook a new recipe with my family. It's been pizza for the last month. Homemade pizza, you guys. I'm tired of homemade pizza. I mean, just because you roll it inside of it and turn it into a calzone or whatever they do, it's still pizza. But we cook together as a family. And I rather complain about getting tired of making pizza every weekend than going out, coming home with a hangover every weekend, and I've spent about $100 at the club. So, or more, being nice. Um, so I made a new ritual with my family. I changed those negative activities into positive habits to reinforce my growth. I journal more now. I do meditate again, not the way I should, but it's still a part of my journey. I give myself affirmations throughout the day. I have to. That's kind of how I ended up changing my mindset. My mindset was to give myself affirmations when I start to have a negative response to something about myself. I start to tell myself why. I'll tell myself the opposite. Like I feel like I'm a failure in life, but I remind myself that even after my son passed away, I went back to college and I graduated. I have been successful and most of the things that I've done because I put the work in behind it, I put the dedication in behind it, and I trust myself and I trust the process. Finally, I would embrace one of the things I had to do was embrace my power. I took full ownership of my journey, knowing that I am the only one who can create change in my life. So I'd embrace my power, my voice, and shift from a place of survival to thriving. Surviving every day is just getting up, keeping your head down, and doing what you gotta do. Come home. But that's not living. That's not living. That's why I moved. I got up and moved out here to Costa Rica because I don't want to just live. I mean, I don't want to live. I want to have a life. I want to be happy. So I had to learn how to refrain myself. I'm sorry, I lost myself there. I had to learn how to refrain myself because if I did not address these cycles of pain, everything was going to repeat. It was going to keep happening. I was going to keep having negative reactions from everything that everyone tried to do for me. Like, so you give me a birthday gift, and I'm just like, what do you want? I don't have anything for you. I had to get all of this stuff out of me. I had to become self-aware. I'd acknowledge where the source of my problem was and challenge all those limiting beliefs. You know, and once I did that, I started to work on things that I could do, even when I felt stuck. Beliefs that was limiting, and I turned them into the reality of what you see right now. Like I'm not where I want to be, but I'm so much further than where I was. 3 fans going on me right now because I'm hot. Sometimes I'm sitting in here and I have this light right here, and I am sweating through my clothes because I'm trying to do something that's not comfortable for me. But today, you're getting the authentic me. I'm challenging the belief that I can't be myself and people will still accept me. Either you're going to accept me or you're not. And if you're not, you're just not. Um, One of the things I had to let go of was seeking external validation. There's always going to be someone I want to be proud of, me, like my kids or my husband, but to the point where it is dangerous, I'm a lot better than I was because when I relied on everyone else's approval or acknowledgement, that's kind of another thing that held me down and affected my self confidence. And it wasn't even someone finally tells me you look nice, It didn't even do anything because now I think you're lying to me because you know I want you to tell me this. So I mean, it's just all of these things that I had to turn. This is what trauma does to my brain, and this is why I started the support group because once I am able to turn all of these flaws into stories of resilience and survival, it helps me. It helps me. I found my voice. I no longer experience being. I don't know. I no longer feel like I'm being silenced. My thoughts, they don't go all over the place. But I mean, I'm a Gemini, so they're gonna always go all over the place. But I'm doing it in a normal way. I don't have a lot of self doubt. I don't have a lot of the fear. I'm just here. Um, I don't want to feel silenced anymore. One of the most powerful effects of trauma is that it keeps us silent, whether it's over fear, guilt, shame, or if someone convinces us that our stories or our voice doesn't matter. That was one of the biggest things. I hated. Mine wasn't even. It was more of everybody thought I lied. I I was raped, and I told my mom about it, and she called me a liar to my face. Like, how do you know? You weren't there, and I came to you for help. And instead of you helping me, you made me feel like I was such a horrible person. And I was afraid to tell her. So I guess it is fear. That wasn't it was fear. I was afraid to tell her the truth about anything that happened to me because all she was going to do was add to the trauma because she was going to call me a liar and put her hands on me. So I mean, it was safer to stay silent, which is why I built this platform. Because I want to encourage everyone to take the next step in your healing journey. Again, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. Healing is not. It's not. It's a journey. It's not a destination. It's important to remember that each step you take is a step towards progress. I know that it is overwhelming when you are in these situations and you're like, I can't do this. You feel stuck. You feel unsure. You don't even know how to move on, but you have everything. You have everything that it takes to take that step. It isn't going to be a straight path. And it's okay to do it one day at a time. Every time you choose to move forward, though, even if it's a baby step, you're reclaiming your power. You're rewriting your narrative. You're rewriting your story. Just take one step. Sometimes the hardest part is just to get started. Like the hardest thing about this tonight was to push go live. And now here I am live. And it is what it is. Whether you're at the beginning of your journey or you're further along, just acknowledge the courage that you have to choose yourself to heal. You're already taking these steps. So that's something in itself that you have to be proud of. Just one small baby step. That's all you need. It doesn't have to be like a podcast. You can start journaling, set a boundary, and stick to that boundary as best you can. Call someone to reach out for support, even if it's the National Domestic Violence Hotline. It doesn't have to be, when I say reach out for support, it doesn't have to be a person that you know. It could be an agency, it could be a case manager, it could be a hotline. 211 is a real big thing in the United States. If you tell them, and then I think it's 811 is the National Suicide Prevention Hotline in the United States. Like they have so many resources for mental health, domestic violence, sexual abuse, sex trafficking. So it doesn't have to be a person that you know. So reach out for support or just sit down, take a minute and breathe. Whew, check in with yourself. To just make sure that you're even able to do any of this stuff and trust your gut, your inner voice. And then your body knows what you need, so you need to trust it. Whether it is seeking professional help or if it's going to a support group. You might not even feel comfortable, but sometimes you might want to make a network of connections. If you go to a support group like the one I have, it started April 17th. And I want that support group to be not only for individuals to come and work and learn and grow, but they're going to be sharing their stories. They're going to be getting to know each other. They're going to be networking and finding support within each other. That's to me what a support group is, or practice self care. Your body's going to tell you when you need to sit down. And if you don't listen to it and try to push yourself, your body's going to tell you when you need to sit down. So it's either going to be in a good way or you're going to end up in the hospital. So just listen to yourself and be gentle with yourself. Don't be angry with yourself because it's going to take time. You're going to have bad days. You're not going to have all the answers tomorrow, and it's okay to not have everything fixed overnight. So you got to give yourself permission to take it slow, focus on progress. You don't have to be perfect. We were beat. Perfection was beat into us. Some of us literally. That's not what healing is. You're not by yourself. You have to remember that you're not alone because it's easy to feel like you're isolated. It's easy to feel like you have nobody, but that's not true. You know, you can email me. My link tree is in any of my platforms: Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram. I think that is all. Maybe not, but they all have my link tree. I don't have my website in there. It's my link tree because my website is in my link tree. But if you need to reach out to me, I have a contact us page link on my link tree. You can reach out to me and I will get a notification. And if I will contact you back, you know. But don't feel like you're alone ever. There are communities, therapists, and people who understand what you're going through. I will reach out if you need to talk for any reason. Don't hesitate, please. And then you have to set your intentions for your healing. So right now, I want you to take a moment and set just a simple intention for your healing. It could be something as small as um, today I'm going to say something nice about myself, or today I'm going to write one sentence in my journal, or I'm going to go out and buy a journal. How about that? Because not everyone has a journal. I'm going to go out and buy a journal so that I can start my healing process. But just set your intentions and celebrate everything you do. Everything. If you go out and buy that journal tomorrow, celebrate that. You don't have to go out and have a party. You know, give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself a way to go. That attaboy, attagrew. Healing is not just about the big moments. It's about the small victories too. So each time you take a step, you're moving closer to a more empowered version of yourself, and it deserves to be celebrated. You have all of the power to move forward. So you need to start, thinking about it. That's something that you're ready to do now. And if you are, start working toward taking the next step in your healing journey. It might feel like it's overwhelming or impossible, but you just got to remember that you are able to do this. You are resilient. You are worthy of healing, and you are going to be okay. You do not have to have everything figured out right at this moment. You just need to take this next step, no matter how big or small. If you want to jump, jump. If you want to scooch, scooch. But you got this. It's your healing journey. It's yours to define. It's yours to start. And you have everything within yourself to move forward. So just keep going. And again, you don't have to walk this journey alone. I would love to connect with you, to share your thoughts, your experiences, or any questions that you have. Healing is a collective journey, and it's so much power in sharing. It really is. There's so much, and people say things and it sounds corny, and it does, but it's real. It's the truth. Because I'm starting to feel a lot more calm, but I'm still nervous about how this went. I have the motorcycles going outside of my house. It's horrible. They're loud, but you know what? This is me, and this is what you're gonna get. Um, but reach out to me. You don't have to do this alone. Whether you're looking for encouragement, resources, or just somebody to hear you, I'm here. I have a whole community of people who are willing to work too here for you. If I can't help you, I can find someone who can. I can give you a resource. See, there that motorcycle goes again. I can give you a resource. I can give you a name. I have so many men and women who are willing to open their hearts to help this community. Do not ever feel like you're alone. I truly believe that when we connect and we share, we create a place for growth and healing. And that's why I'm here. That's why I do what I do. That's why I'm willing to help listen, to help you, to help guide you, and I can listen to your story. That's why I want to help provide resources and empower. Whether you're looking for more guidance, a safe place, or just a little bit of encouragement, and just find somebody to connect with. But we're all in this together. We're all in this together. So I want to thank you all for being a part of the conversation. I hope that you feel empowered because, again, I was all over the place, but I hope I was able to inspire someone to take the next step in their healing journey. If you found this episode meaningful, if you found it encouraging, if you found it funny, I would like you to share, and subscribe to my network, because by sharing this message, you can help create a ripple effect of empowerment, and you can touch so many others who need it. So let's continue building this community. Let's uplift each other. Let's support one another. Together we are stronger. I am trying to start this thing where I end each one of my episodes with a quote. This one is, I said her name wrong the last time. It's Asata Shakur. I cannot say her name, but she is not Tupac's mom. She is a beautiful, beautiful activist, and she's good for saying a lot of positive quotes. And one of the quotes that she says, "We must use our voices to break the silence, for truth can never be oppressed by fear." Stay strong, you guys. Stay resilient, and remember, you are the author of your story. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you guys next Friday with my next guest. Oh, and again, before I go, please don't forget, if you want to be part of the support group, you can go on my link tree on my bio here on my YouTube network. You can see PJ Jones on my Facebook. You can find me on Instagram under PJ_at. It is spelled out. It is not the at sign. So PJ_AT_soulful resilience. That's my Instagram. My link tree is in that bio. The application to be a part of this group is in that link tree. It is very important if you want to be a part of that to sign up, because I only have limited space. I'm just one person. I can't have 100 people. But I have to keep up with that. But I do have a nice little bit of time before I close. I have 2 more spots. I'm going to just be 2 spots right now tonight. I don't know what that's going to look like once I click this and check and see if I have any upcoming applications. But if I do, then I might have 0 spots. But I will be having a wait list because I am going to be opening up more spots in the future. I think that this is something that you guys also think about being part of. If you want to connect with me, if you want to be a part of this journey, let me know. But I rambled on. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to my very first solo. Next time is going to be a lot better, I promise. Yeah, I promise. And if not, the last part of every month, you guys got to deal with me. Like it, love it, or leave it. But I love it. You guys have a great evening. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe. Be strong. Be resilient. Good night.
It's been dark way too long in this place. That bright smile long gone been replaced. From ear to ear I see that fear in your face. Tell me when the last time you felt safe, cause there's some evil people in the streets. Evil at your front door, creeping while you sleep. It's time to raise up, show that evil we ain't weak. We don't turn the other cheek, I can show you how to be strong. Come on, follow me. Heard you looking for a hero. Well, look up. No more running from the bad guy, I'ma stare him in the eye like, what's up? I know the journey got hard for a minute, but I ain't giving this up. Yeah, I got the heart of a champion. If I get